morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Hi, I'm Lisa Akbari, your hair doctor, and welcome to the show. I missed you guys. I promised I wouldn't say that because this will definitely date my video, but that's okay. I had technical difficulties trying to get started on my videos. Like last week, I was supposed to speak to you about heated tools, and I recorded an entire video on heated tools, and guess what? It recorded, but it wouldn't play back. Ooh, and then I was so busy. I had appointments right after. I had a meeting right after. Let's tell you how early my videos are, and how early my meetings are. Well, and I didn't have time to go back and do it. And all week long, up until today, because today is my day to do the videos. Okay, this is my time with you that I carve out every week. And I was so sad about that. So I apologize to y'all for not getting back to you before then. But today we're going to talk about heat tools. Yes, you've noticed my hair is all still in my little twist. And I left it like this because I wanted to show you how I work with my hair and some important things about traction. Today is about heated tools, but I do want to show you my hair, and I want to answer your questions. So I'm going to put a lot into this video since I missed y'all last week. Okay, I'm going to pull up one of my twists, which is really important. If you notice, we talked about tension before and how important it is not to create the traction around your hairline. Well, this gives you an example of how my twists, how loose they are at the scalp, and they start to kind of narrow out at the ends, because this is really where your style is. Your style is really not in your, let's see if I got you. Okay. The style is really not in the hair close to the scalp. The style is at the ends. Let's take this little headband off. The style is really on this part. If you have 6 inches of hair, you're really focused on your style is at the 3 inches down. A lot of times people will do a twist out and then they'll try to really get rid of the parts. Well, if you have really small twists and you want to show that definition in the parts, that's great. But I'm talking about your quick fix, or you want twist out and you want volume at the hair close to the scalp, then don't twist those tight. So that's what I do. And so when I separate them, all I do is separate them like this. So then I have that definition still, but then and when I pull up, so I'll just show you quickly. I just separate them. Usually in the mornings, my hair is still a little damp because my hair is so hydrated. It just, I usually try to hydrate with my hair vitamins, not just my moisturizer, because the hair vitamins, and it does make it a little bit wet, because the hair vitamin gives me some humectants, moisture binding agents, as well as a little protein. So it really keeps my hair strong, and it keeps my hair from doing any kind of tangling on the ends. It keeps those ends really defined in their own area. So it's really, what I mean by that is, you know how your ends will ball up and roll to the ends, and then they'll tangle, cross over on its neighboring end. Well, mine won't do that if I use my leave-in product called Hair Vitamin. And so that's what I do at night. Okay. And see, I've got pretty much most of them down. Sometimes I'll leave some of them, and then I just start to move it up, and I'm pretty much there for the most part. The ones in the back, I'll let kind of, see, I'm there. See, sometimes I'll let them just kind of do that. Just stay in their own little twist, just for something very interesting. And especially if I want to have that, y'all call it wash and go, I call it shampoo and go look with definition. So this would be more my shampoo and go look with definition. That means it's really kind of tight to my head. But if I want more, and you can see, because you know my hair is about, I guess it's about 14 inches long, because my shoulder is there. So my hair is pretty long. But see, the more I pull at it, the longer it's going to stretch out and stay. So when I want to leave it about this length, and you know, I'm probably going to pick at my hair this whole lesson today and this whole visit with you because of this But you know what? I may surprise you. I'm going to leave it just like that. Short and cute. Short, I'll call it short and sassy. And then we're going to go to the questions because we have lots and lots to talk about today with heated tools. Okay, see, there I go, right there. It's already bugging me. Okay, because this side is just almost perfect, isn't it? There's not a long little piece so we can hang down my personality. Okay. All right, so let's get to your questions and your comments. Okay, someone said, most of us know the basics of hair care, like how to comb it or not to comb it or brush it, stay away from harsh chemicals, but how do we really know when our hair likes or loves something in a certain product, and even if it's doing your hair good or bad? Well, with that, let me just tell you, hair itself is just dead protein cells. It's just keratinized protein cells. You have to protect and preserve. So it's really easy. If your hair feels good, looks good, not breaking, has shine, you're good with that product. And I can tell you, yes, you want some, I can go down a list of things to stay away from, but really your hair can tolerate many things. You just have to be careful that whatever you're putting on your hair, it's not breaking your hair down. It's not tearing the hair. It's not dehydrating the hair. It's not burning the hair. It's not dissolving the cuticle layer. So you have to make sure of that. So most products, I will say this cautiously, most of the products your hair will withstand for a period of time, but over a period of time it will cause a breaking down process. That's why I say keep it simple. Clarify your hair, use a clarifier, stay within the pH for 4.5 to 5.5, and you won't have to worry about that dehydrating effects. Clarify, you won't have to worry about that negative nasty buildup, because we have buildup on our hair, which is a good thing, but the negative buildup is a bad thing. And that's when we use products that really coat our hair and they won't rinse clean. So over a period of time they cause other problems. And then your leave-in products, you want your hair to feel soft. Just because you have natural hair doesn't mean you can't have body. You still want to have movement with your hair. You want soft, you want strong hair, you don't want hair falling in your hands. Those are indications that you're on the wrong path. And we can get into product a little bit more, but I just can tell you right away, when you put it on contact, if your hair feels better with it, you should definitely go with it, unless you, and then watch it for a period of time, and if it starts to have an adverse effect, like start to dry out or break, then you need to stop. Now I will tell you right away, if you use a lot of conditioning shampoos and things like that, and silicones and products like that, once you clarify for the first time, your hair may feel rough and dry because you have not ever been able to get that deep conditioning, because all those negative products have just, kind of been in your hair, and they have kept everything else from getting in, the good stuff from getting in. So it's going to be a little different when the first time you use a clarifier, but you'll be fine. You'll feel a little dry, and let me just say that, in some cases. Okay, the next one is, how do you know your hair is really begging for moisture before it breaks? It feels dry. That's an easy one. If your hair feels dry, it's begging for moisture. Let's see. Here, before it breaks, itches, and feels dry. There's no way. Well, first, your hair is going to automatically need a balance. There's a delicate protein and moisture balance within the hair, moisture levels that must stay balanced. And the way to keep that balance is by keeping protein and moisture within the shaft. Always. You have to. That's the best way to protect and preserve. So don't be reactive, be proactive. Just do it. It's just like, oh, how do I know I'm starving before I fall down and faint and get sick? Well, you know if you're going to starve if you don't eat right, or if you don't feed your body. And it's the same with your hair. I need to adjust this just for here. I've got stuff in my office that I don't want to adjust too much. Okay, yeah, I'll turn this way. Now I'm picking up all the background stuff. Focus think that's a good shot. All right, now the next question is, hello Lisa, we missed you Thursday, but you came through on Saturday. Yeah, and it's like 2 weeks now. Oh, thank you so much. I love you. I miss you guys too. You just don't know. I love your vids. So informative. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you, and I love you watching my videos. I said, I love your videos and look forward to them. I have the same question someone else had about leave-in conditioners. Are they really necessary? Leave-in conditioners, which is what I use every night. I was telling you about my hair vitamins. They protect and preserve. It's kind of like maintenance. You shampoo, you deep condition, use your leave-in to keep everything together, to actually keep the hair in place, to keep in place, I mean balanced. So because leave-in conditioners will have a little bit of protein and a little bit of humectants, so you got strengthening and hydrating all the time. So you always got that protection. It's always a protection. And that's why I think they're necessary. I think they're important. Such great videos, Dr. Akbari. I'm loving your book in person as well as your book through the videos. I am loving doing this. I feel like I'm really with you guys every week. So I'm loving it as well. Thank you. I'm so happy and pleased that you enjoy the book. Now go out and buy it. I really, you should, because I think it'll be a good kind of a reference book. Okay, what did she say about this? What should I do with that? And there are others out there, believe me. But this is a good reference book, I think, for many people, because I do speak to you, black woman. I really do with this book. And I think that we need that. I think that God blessed me to be a trichologist to help women from all backgrounds. I feel like there's a special need there with us, because I think that we have misunderstood our own hair for so long, which is very dangerous. So thank you. Go out and get the book, everyone. Really like to know what my hair. Okay, I think that's where she stopped. Okay, this one says, okay, Lisa, what is the deal with avoiding silicones and sulfates? Many YouTubers and books suggest this method. I did see your video on no poo versus poo, so I understand we need to clean the hair, but can you get it clean with conditioner if you avoid silicones? Thanks in advance. Love good advice from a pro. Thank you so much for that. All right, here's the deal. Miss Chrissy? Here's the deal. You cannot clean your hair with conditioner. I said it, and I've said it 100 times, folks out there. I know I love my family, and I know a large percentage of my family out here, my YouTube family, you guys are no pooing. I know you do, because the conditioner makes your hair feel so good, and you don't want to get down to the core root of the problem, so you never clean your hair up. And so you're always feeling that good feeling, but then you wonder, well, why is my hair now all of a sudden breaking? But it's not all of a sudden. You have to clean and clarify all the environmental pollutants, all the dust, dirt, and debris, all of the old hair product, the dead skin cells, the sweat, all of that sits in the hair. And you know what happens? It makes a nice soup around your scalp and on your shaft. If you looked at it on the microscope, you would be grossed out. I'm telling you, you would. And then it solidifies into this hard, solid wax. So if you look under certain levels of magnification, you think, oh, that's just a nice, shiny scalp. When you raise the level of magnification, you can see little hairs trapped. You can see debris trapped. You can see dead skin cells trapped. It's horrible. And it's an environment for pollutants. So to answer your question, you have to have a cleansing agent to clean the hair. Now, we differ in some ways. There's some studies that show that sulfates are bad, and some studies that show that they don't do anything wrong to the hair. They don't harm the body. They don't, so there's so much out there. I would say clarifier. I would say a mild cleansing agent. Those are things, but you cannot condition, you cannot clean with a conditioner, and you cannot condition with a cleanser. So you've got to have a shampoo that clarifies, and puts the hair at its normal pH, purified, clarified. You have to have a conditioner that balances the protein and moisture level. That's it. Okay, let's get to the heated tools. Yay. Okay, all right, I'm going to read from my book because you know we're doing our cyber reading. But then I'm also going to just give a lot of commentary on this one. Straightening processes are temporary. At least they're supposed to be. But in some cases, they are permanent. And why is that? And that's because we are overpressing our hair. Okay, we're going to talk about that. As you know, but the hair may not be natural after pressing. Let me tell you something. When you say I have natural hair, if you do anything other than a fro and manipulate your hair, like with twisting it and all those kinds of things, then if you're pressing your hair, if you're coloring your hair, it's no longer natural. It is not. It's just relax free, but it is not natural. Okay? All right. So let's go back and let's continue. It said many women are pressing their hair thinking that it is home base. We are trying to run away from the relaxer. Yes, we are. And we're running away from something. We're not necessarily running toward natural. Yeah, we're running away from something. And when we get natural, many women do not know okay, what do I do now? So they want to wear straight hair. So they wear pressed hair. Now, I'm not talking about ladies to say, well, you know what? I just want to do a press out today because I just want a straight look today. I'm not speaking about you using the heated tools. I'm talking about women like a lady that was in one of my seminars, the symposiums, workshops. I have so many of those things. She said to me, I want to go natural, but I don't want natural hair. And everybody looked at her in the audience, but I knew exactly what she was speaking of. She does not want kinky hair. She doesn't want this beautiful spiral look on the top of her head. But she's afraid of relaxers. So we're running away. And not all of you, I love you. You know I'm not talking about all of you. But those of you who I am speaking of, you know who I'm speaking of. So what you're doing is you're pressing your hair because you believe we did it when we were younger and our hair seemed to be okay, or my mom said pressing was good, or it's not chemical, or whatever reason why we're doing it, we're pressing our hair. And the new press of the day is flat irons. Maybe in a few years when you look at this video, it may be something else. But it's the new thing. It's the pressing. Some are still pressing comb, some are flat irons, whatever the case is, or curling irons, whatever they're doing. They're using these heated tools to straighten out the hair. Now, that's okay, but you got a problem if you're not careful. Unfortunately, that is just not true that the hair is natural when it's pressed. If your hair is pressed too harsh, too much pressure heat, too high of temperature, your hair will suffer from heat damage. I call it overprocessing with the pressing comb. But pressing comb, flat iron, heated tool of choice, curling iron, whatever you're using, blow dryer. The way we know if our hair is suffering from this type of damage is really, really simple. If we're overprocessed with the heated tool, the way we know when our hair is wet, our hair will still have straight ends on it. And that means we're beginning to overprocess. How is that, and why does it have the straight ends? Well, the way to press the hair or straighten the hair permanently or to overprocess the hair is through pressured heat and chemicals. Now, when you use pressured heat, what happens with the hair? When you use a chemical, what happens with the hair? Let's start with the chemical. With a chemical, when you straighten your hair out, the cuticle layers open up. Those are your top layers. The relaxer goes into the hair shaft, into the cortical fibers, which is the center layer, the really strong layer where all the bonds are, and all the chemical changes occur, and your color pigments are held. When that occurs, your hair begins to straighten out, break down those bonds, reform them. The relaxer is rinsed away. It's supposed to be rinsed away clean. The cuticle there closes back up. All is good, and we live happily ever after with our straight hair. That would be great if that happened, but it doesn't in most cases. We're overprocessed. Either we're leaving the relaxer on too long, meaning that the hair begins to soften, straighten, thin, and then dissolve, or we're leaving traces of relaxer there, and there are other problems later on, like dehydration, resulting in breakage and some other problems. With a pressing comb, or a heated tool, you press the hair, you flatten the cuticle, flat, 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 and then you're temporarily straightening that cuticle out. Well, that's in a happy world, in a perfect world. Well, what happens when you overheat the hair cuticle, the top layer? You begin to press the cuticle, then you begin to melt the cuticle, then you get into the cortex. When that happens, the hair permanently straightens because you're flattening the same bonds that you would flatten if you did with relaxer. So they're permanently flattened. So if that happens, then boom, your hair is over processed. That's the way it is. So it's permanently straight. So ladies out there who are pressing our hair, flat ironing our hair, whatever we're doing, you can over process your hair with a heated tool. So it's not home based. You just have to be educated. It comes back to everything I've talked about through this whole reading. Everything that I talk about, it's about protecting and preserving the hair, understanding what your hair and scalp can tolerate. I do this every day. I do analysis with patients, and I'm looking at the fact that they're doing more than their hair can tolerate, so they end up losing their hair. So you're going to have to be careful. Okay. Now, how do we protect our hair? And what are some of the things that we're using? First, you've got, and what do we look for? First, you've got the straight hair. When it's wet, it's still got the straight end, so you know that's an indication that's overexposure to something, some type of pressure heat. Then you'll have the layers just lifting, and you'll feel the little knots down in your shaft, and all the little areas, and that's usually from a different type of heated tool, and that's from one, blow dryer. If you blow dry your hair from wet to dry, you'll notice the hair is just flying all over the room. In many cases, you're smoking and flying, and then you'll notice that your hair is dry. Over a period of time, it starts to look a dull color, like it's taking the color away. What happens when you blow dry from wet to dry, the cortex literally boils. And when you feel those little knots on the shaft, not on the ends, I'm talking about in the body of the strand, then you usually will have what we call, it's termed bubble hair, but it's just an enlarged cortex, and the cuticle is stretching. Eventually it will break because the cuticles will expand so much, and then they'll lift and pop, but initially it's called bubbles hair. So over blow drying, I highly recommend you put a leave-in conditioner on, a moisturizer, sit on the dryer, or plait it overnight, let it dry, and then the next day use your heated tool. That's what I recommend. Watch my time. Okay, but I mean, that's what you need to do. Now, if you're going to use heated tools, you've got to make sure your hair is always clean and hydrated. Do not use heated tools on dirty hair. You have to make sure, because you are not going to have the kind of protection you need, and you're going to be literally cooking your dirt and debris into your hair shaft, which makes it harder to clean away. And you're also going to burn faster as well. So you want to use clean, hydrated hair. Don't use oils. Remember when we use oils? Now, I'm not saying don't use oils ever, okay? But when you're going to put the heated tool on contact to your shaft, you need to make sure that you are using a hydrator, a moisturizer. I have a product called Cool Down. Absolutely love it, and people love it, and you should go on my site. If you have a problem with finding something to protect your hair, you have something great, that's fine, but don't heat it to your hair in silicones, okay? That is not good. I don't like them anyway, because I don't like them for the hair. It's not personal, I just don't like them for the hair. I like what they do in terms of style, but I just don't like them for the hair. Okay, now, when you use a heated tool with the oil, what happens, you remember when we were growing up, and we get our hair pressed in here, well, yeah, that was a sizzling, that meant it was burning. So it heats the hair up faster when you use a heated tool with the oil. So don't do it. Okay. All right, now, when you use, what should you use? You should hydrate and use moisture. Heat rollers. Some people are using those and they're always coming back and they're going away and they're coming back. Heat rollers. Do not use heat rollers at all. And the reason I say that is because when you roll your hair with a heat roller, then you're going to put it on and then let it cool down in the hair. That's just like taking a curling iron, curling your hair, letting the curling iron stay in there till it cools down. It's burning little areas down the shaft. You have poor elasticity all the way down the shaft. Be careful. Be careful. There are so many companies that are telling you you want to brush and heated tools. There's one company that has a flat iron and it brushes the hair and flat irons the hair. Ripping hot bristles. That's the bristles are very warm, and those warm bristles are ripping and tearing into your cuticle. Don't do it. Okay. All right. So the other thing you need to look at is temperature. You want to be careful, and you've heard me say these things all the time, and we're going to talk about chemical services next week on our blog. But with temperature on your heated tools, you want to stay fine hair. You want to stay around 150 degrees, and I would say definitely use a leave-in conditioner and not a regular moisturizer, because this finer hair will have less cuticle layers, so my hair vitamin will be great, or even the cool down alone. And I would say around 150 degrees should be plenty. And then you can go up to 250 to 300 with medium hair, and you can add a little bit of your cream moisturizer along with your cool down. And then for coarse hair, you can 300 degrees is really the meltdown time. But with coarse hair, what I found with some of the studies with coarse hair, and if you don't use the oils and you're very careful to hydrate the hair and make sure the hair is clean, you can use 400 degrees, sometimes a little bit more, depending on how dense the hair is. Because really it's about how dense that hair is, how many layers are there. Because cuticle layers, you can have anywhere from 3 to 13 layers, and some people have 1 or 2, depending on how fine the hair is. So those cuticle layers are going to help to protect and preserve that cortex. If you heat them too high, you're going to get the meltdown. But with coarse hair, some people will sacrifice. I don't suggest it. So if you go beyond that 400, you're taking a risk. I mean, your hair seems to be okay, but over a period of time, you're going to see the results of thinning hair. Okay, it's been a great show. I love you. I love you. I love you. I miss you. I miss you. I miss you. To God be the glory in Jesus. I'm going to see you guys right here next week for another reading from my book, Black Woman's Guide to Beautiful Hair. So I've got my little mark here. Keep your questions coming because they're so important to me. I love your comments. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week right here on Ask the Hair Doctor.